Greets peeps, this is Tony the Hero of Flanders. Back again, we've explained this giant menu structure up here. We've gone through, explained a bunch of these things here. There's likely more of these will show up and we'll explain them as we go, but they're all basically self-explanatory. Click on the thing and it will tell you what it does, and it will lead you to the relevant location. There's a couple of exceptions, not too many. One of these though, I do need to run through. This building menu is accessed from here, the production interface. This pops you into the building area, but there's a lot of tabs down here, which I need to explain. One of them is estates. This is a quick and easy way to see what estates are where. It gives you a different map mode that allows you to add and remove estates really easily. We'll do that shortly once we're ready to kick these nobles out and try and stop their coup from happening. The development map mode shows you what your development is like, lets you quickly choose the lowest place, the place with the lowest development cost, and do upgrades there. If you happen to be doing, if you happen to need to spend your monarch points, you can do it there. I should mention there's another reason why you may want to upgrade provinces. It's not something that I do often, but there's that number there saying that we can't build any more buildings on this territory until we have 30 development. So I may need to spam out another 7 development points here to allow for another building. That's really important. As you go through the game, more and more buildings become available. Each of these with an arrow alongside them is an upgrade, but the ones without arrows are all unique. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and one of these 11 buildings is the maximum you could have in one state, and to do that you would need to do a lot of developing. I've never gotten near that far because it's not, I don't play tall, I play wide. I like to go blah, cover the entire map with my, what's that called, blood red burgundy blimmin' map color. Other options in here are actually I should mention this. When you use this menu to do building from, it opens up all of the options, all of the places where those can happen. So we've got 4 provinces that don't have castles. I could build in any one of those. If I was building a looking to build a cathedral, I would be able to select any of these. Had I another 16 tech levels, I would click one of these and it would happen. What it would also allow me to do is see any places where it would be cheaper or more expensive, potentially depending on what was going on in the place. If one of these places already had a temple, then the cost to build a cathedral would be much cheaper, and therefore the amount of money I'm spending to get that increase would be reduced, and therefore make it more worth my while to spend the money there instead, if you see what I mean. It'll be something that I stream when I'm streaming this. What else? Buildings, culture. We can see there's a nice easy menu here that we can use to switch out cultures. One thing that it does do is it changes the culture to the primary culture, and we don't necessarily want that. We saw before when we were looking at Picardy that it costs 180 to go to Burgundian culture, but it's far cheaper to go to Wallonian, and we already accepted the Wallonian culture and it's right next door, so it's 50 points cheaper, 45 points cheaper. You'd be a mug to use to do that change there, and I've done it a million times. The local autonomy screen allows you to quickly chunk through when you're dealing with lots and lots of different places and remove autonomy. Religion, same thing. You can spam your missionaries through there, but it's also quite easy to do it from this screen, and there's a little bit more information in the screen, so I tend to do my mass conversions there. Making cores, that's an option, but I tend to do it from there, within this. You can click there when you've got uncored extensions, uncored provinces. You can build ships in here, and you can set templates to build ships. Typical template that I'll do is 10 trade ships, and that's fine. That's what I want. I want 10 trade ships, and I can just click on that when I've got enough money, go plonk, and then 10 trade ships will eventually be built there. More importantly is I have the army building one, and I do 10 mercenaries, because that's a great amount of troops that I can send into battle with nary a care for their well-being, because they're mercenaries and they don't deplete my manpower. I believe that's the case. They may deplete my manpower when they are injured. Let's have a look and see if we can identify that. Basic soldiers tend to be peasant levies. No, I want to know about mercenaries. No, okay. That doesn't help us at all. I'm fairly certain that's the case. We'll see if we can do a war with only mercenaries and see if they come back from our manpower or from the ether, wherever mercenaries come from. Okay, we're doing everything we want to. We want to spy on that. We want to improve on the Papal States, and in the meantime, we can do a whole bunch of nothing until our army's at full strength, and then we'll come down at full morale, I should say. That will take another... Oh, that morale has dropped, I'm certain. Ah, that's right, because we turned their morale down, but this time we actually, previously we actually rebuilt them. What? Oh wow, they've gone to war. Okay. So we've had these pop-ups come up. These controlling these pop-ups is a real pain in the backside until you learn how to do it. I didn't for the longest time, but in here you can go to message settings, and this is the one window you can't move, and you can control everything. Another country claims our throne. So there's all sorts of stuff that appears in here with displays as pop-up. I like the ones that pop up and pause, and I tend to, everything that I don't remove. Okay, so here's a suggestion that I heard from someone else. I don't necessarily agree with it. I've sort of muddled my way through it and turned things on as I want to. He suggested go through, turn on everything that's to you, and turn on everything that's from you. No. Do we need the from yous? No, I don't think he said that. But then so go all, and then to me, and then turn it all on. It's like a bit exhaustive. For me, I'd rather just handle it myself. But it's a totally valid option, and choosing this will display the. Oh, hang on. Display the pop-up and pause. Which one's that? Ah, there we go. So it displays as a pop-up, but it doesn't pause if it's there. Displays as a pop-up and pauses if it's there. So that's what I've set most of these to manually by getting a message come up and go, oh god, that's an important one, and I don't want it obscuring my screen in the meantime. So we'll go in there and we'll say display and log, pop-up and pause. That's weird. I don't know why that type wasn't set as, but this one is. No. Oh god, I've got some work to do. Okay. Yeah, okay. So we'll be doing a whole bunch of pausing to make these things appear. So what we can see is the first pop-up that appeared is France tell us about the event of the surrender of Maine, where along with other possible options they went with time to teach them how to war as the choice of action. So they've said, hey, we want Maine back. Maine is a mission that France gets, I know from the last game that I played, and it allows you to declare war on England for free and gives you claims in all of these spots, which they didn't have until this moment, if I recall. Oh, I thought that was Spain, but it's Armagnac. France got that pop-up, that random event, it popped up, they took it, they're now... Hang on. Restoration of Union. What is that? It doesn't actually matter, because England has no allies. England is fighting France, Aragon, Naples, Genoa, Provence, and Lorraine. Lorraine? Isn't that those guys? Oh yes, because Lorraine is Provence's... Yes, okay. So, right. England's getting booted out. This is their sum total army. They'll be fighting an army of about three or four times that. So what we're going to do is... No, we're not. We are going to wait. And then we're going to arrange to walk across, and then we're going to arrange to take Calais, because that sounds like a good plan to me once English forces are ruined. Their navy is quite powerful at this moment and will remain so if they don't get beaten up a bit. So, God, we need a claim on Calais. Okay, let's cancel that. And let's claim Calais. Who didn't like us? It was Denmark, a whole bunch of other... Denmark, Hungary, and... Who was the other one? Oh, it was... those clowns, wasn't it? Castile. It's so weird. I don't know why they chose Burgundy. Doesn't make any sense. That's okay. Oh, God. Shit sticks. We did... Oh, excuse my language. We didn't even get an option... Oh, we didn't even... Okay, so every time that your regent dies, you lose stability. So that stability that we spent before is now disappeared. Now, regent dies, everyone goes unresty, and we've got a little bonus on that because we've gone for unrest and we didn't have a queen, even though I set up 2 friggin' marriages. We're now in a regency council who have the mighty output of 1, 1 and 0. This is not cool. There's not much we can do about it either, unfortunately. We're going to lose money. We can't increase our stability because we don't have enough go-go juice. We don't even have a good general to put in charge of our army that needs to fight these bastard nobles. This is a interesting start. What we've got to do is we've got to hope that our heir doesn't die, because if our heir dies, we're in real trouble. There's an event aimed at Burgundy that can cause some real damn issues. Do we want to give Provence and France military access? No. No, we don't. The reason we don't want to give them military access is because they will... nope. is because they'll trot across our stuff and claim Calais. We want to claim Calais for ourselves. Oh my lord. What? Okay, let's see what happens when the nobility gets to 0%. We've chastised them because I didn't want to lose one tax. So the event there, sorry, you can go back and pause it. The event there says lose one tax development in Charleroi or Charleroi. I don't know, Charleroi, I'm just going to say. And you lose one of those and your nobles get happy. The other option is your nobles get grumpy. My nobles are already super grumpy, so I didn't care. They're going to be more grumpy when I take this land off them, which I'm doing next turn. And what I've got to hope is that these guys are tough enough not to get beaten by our... hopefully they're not beaten by the peasants that get raised next month. We'll find out. Aragon. I'm tempted to give access to Aragon. They don't really need it. No, I'll decline. I don't think declining access... Oh, it does reduce their opinion. No. I really don't want to give that access out because it will. And if I give it to England, it'll be just as bad. Once we give it to England, they'll... if you have access to land and you're in a war, your enemy also gets access to that same land. It's one of the things in the game to keep it balanced, otherwise you could kind of snipe across borders and stuff and it would be weird and incorrect. Not the way that sort of feudal history worked. It was... well, I guess it was in some circumstances, but regardless, we don't care. We want them all to fight and have a good time. And we're going to try and quickly run through... Why did... Oh no, they're still our vassal, that's right. This whole nonsense having only 2 diplomats is so different after... Oh my god, all the diplomats are dying. All the things are dying. I hope none of these guys fall under... No, they're fine. And they're fine. Okay, good. Yeah, it would be nice to get marriages with both of those back. I don't know what the English are doing. They normally have some troops land. English are going to lose this war and not have done anything about it. It's pretty rare. They've still got 25,000 guys sitting over around London, minding their business, picking their noses. What is this? For the sake of 51 ducats? No. Oh, we'll lose our papal influence. That's a shame. Oh, I don't want to lose papal influence. If I could gain papal influence, I'd do it the other way. Gaining stability, though, is probably a worthy trade. I don't much mind if the nobles get angrier. We're gonna see what happens when they get 0 loyalty. Oh, and hey, We're well past our due by date. We need this one, buddy. Thank you very much. You can have that and go to 0 loyalty. Look at that. Lovely. Let's see how bad the damage was. The noble rebels have risen up. How bad's the damage? Oh, it's only 8. That's fine. Cool. Alright. I was genuinely concerned that they've got a general. Hey, this is the first battle. Let's have a look. Alright, so that was way late. But what happened there is because I had troops already parked on the land, we got the defensive advantage. There's no defensive advantage to be had from farmlands anyway, so it didn't really matter. But if we were to do it in the hills or in woods, it definitely would be worthwhile. Hills give you 1. Woods give you 1. Dice roll for attack a -1, and hills give you 2. No, they give you 1 as well. Yeah. I thought they had another effect as well. I thought they affected combat width. Maybe that's only Highlands. Let's go look in the Highlands. Where are the Highlands? There. They reduce combat width. Don't they? Okay, what about mountains? Maybe that combat width thing is different. Maybe there's a patch that does that. I was certain that was the Art of War patch. Sorry, talking about patches, they're all over the shop. All of them do different things. All super hard to follow up on. But we're down at 1 speed. Let's have a look at this combat. Let's explain this combat. So the first thing that we see is the location of the battle. This location has no effect on the battle, so we can discount that. What we also see is that each side rolls a dice every turn. So a turn has 2 phases. A turn has a fire and a shock phase. Each side does an attack phase and a fire phase. So this is okay, this is their fire phase. No, that's not right. Okay, if you remember to the video where I mentioned it the first time, I said there's a fire phase and a shock phase, and each team gets a turn of being offensive and defensive. Excuse me. That's my best understanding of the situation, but I can't guarantee that to be fact. I'm fairly certain it's true. Can look on the wiki if it matters. The truth of it is that the combat is random enough that this level of detail isn't too important. What is important is the layout of the troops. What we can see is there's regiments of infantry all in the middle. On the outside is the knights. We've also got an infantry back there and an infantry back there, which I don't understand. It would make more sense. We're limited by our maximum width of 17, I thought it said. Let's have a look in here. Combat width 20. So for some reason, even though we can be much wider than them, we chose not to be. The reason is because we matched the infantry for infantry to get our width, and then we had our cavalry on the outside, because cavalry can do extra damage to the from the outside. They have flanking range. There we go, flanking range of 2. But it still would have made sense for us to have another infantry there, because they could have flanked from here. Yeah, games do weird things, who knows. So those guys are flanking, those guys are flanking. Yeah, I'm not certain. Feels like it should have been wider. Who knows? So, those guys attack any of those guys attack any of those guys. And those guys attack inwards more because they have flanking range. These guys are, they're knights, so they're trying to flank dead into infantry. Not a good move, bro. Their regiment strengths and things are shown in the pop-up for them. we're actually we've got some quite weakened central regiments, so that's for me why that one infantry should be in the middle, prepared to prop up one of these guys, or actually in the front line and shooting at these guys, letting this guy just flank the very last guy. I don't know exactly how this works. It's not something I pay attention to a great deal often. Other things we should pay attention to though, and probably more important, these are our discipline numbers that we saw here before. The discipline of both sides is identical. That will always be the case when you're fighting rebels. They take your discipline with you, with them. What they don't take is your morale. What we can have a look at is that they get a good chunk, or they actually no. The only advantages they get from morale is tech. So they get 2.57, but we get Burgundian traditions. We get Leopold Ducame, who I don't know. I don't know what that is, who that is. Oh, hang on, yes I do. He's our advisor. Leopold Ducame. There we go. And we also get the army tradition, which this bunch of nobles don't have army tradition. County nobles times 1. Our prestige gives us a Nagus, but we are 0.5 stronger than the enemy. They've got the same morale, the same discipline. They've got the same military tactics, and they've also got a leader. So if their number was equal to us, they should, in theory, or they would run us really close if this leader was better. During the shock phase, he gets a +3 bonus to our army, which has no shock, no leader, and therefore no bonuses whatsoever. So in the fire phase, it's just dice roll versus dice roll. We happen to luck in with a higher dice roll. I think these are D10, like 10-sided dice. Let's let it tick over to the next one. Oh, sorry, I should also show the numbers of troops still involved. They've got 3,200 in the first rank. We've got 5,000 in the front and 2,000 in the back. We've got 3,000 cavalry. They've got they would have had 2 units there, but they don't anymore. It's now 1.5. Let's let it tick one more time. So we saw the damage come off. They did more damage to us than we did more damage to them than they did to us in that last phase. We'll let it tick again. Oh, too late. Okay, so this is the I promise we'll have a proper look at the next one. I'll try and remember. So we can see that we won 0 prestige out of there, but we got 2.7 army tradition, which is actually a really good take from a battle like this. I don't know what defines the amount of army tradition you get from a battle. I've always assumed it was losing. As we can see them getting completely wiped out, somehow they got 10. There's none of them, well, they all routed I guess, but they're effectively, if this happened in a normal war, you wouldn't get any of those troops back. That manpower would be gone. I believe, actually I think there's, I'm not certain, I never lose armies, so I don't know, but I think you can lose armies and then get a proportion of them back under certain circumstances. I'm not certain. That's not something that I'd advise doing anyway. But what we can see here is that we killed 5,000 of their, or killed or routed 5,000 of their guys, 3,000 of their cavalries, and we lost 3,000 men. So that's a lot of men to lose. That's definitely not ideal. What we'll see now is we're going to have to fully reinforce our armies. We need 2,000. We get 800 of them per month. So it's going to take 4 months to fully recharge our army. If we were to put this chap in power rather than the other chap who's there, he would boost that reinforcement speed by 33%. Was it 33? Did it say? Yeah, 33%. I never use those guys. So that would go from 800 to, yeah, 1100, 1000 something. And we would reinforce quicker and be prepared to battle quicker. But the outcome of that battle was just as important in this screen as it was anywhere else. Cool. Okay, so their loyalty is 0. That is a pretty low loyalty. It doesn't get much lower than that. But it's going to increase over time, and we don't need anything from these guys. We can't demand support from them for another 20 years, 18 years, so it's not that big of a deal. It is a problem that our land maintenance is more expensive and that our manpower recovery speed is slower, but it's not the end of the world. Having them take over our country pretty much would be. So it's I'm not gravely concerned about it. What is going to be funny though is that I'm now going to give this to these guys. Oh, it only goes to 70. God damn it. Okay, that's not good because I need to juggle that figure a bit. I should explain something. Because they've got at least 15% of the nobility, have at least 15% of the land, their loyalty level will increase towards 50. When it's below, when the clergy or the nobility are below 15, it won't. It will go down to 0 and it will float at 0. When I first started playing the game, I couldn't get my head around what was going on here, and so I just left them at 0. And it doesn't have that. It's not game killing. It slows down the amount that your armies come back. It slows down. It reduces the amount of tax. So what? It's not a big deal if you don't want to play this game, but the coups are a big deal. This coup is annoying me. It's 80.0, which we could get around that. Rather than taking land from them, we could get around that quite easily by upgrading one of our places, but I'm sick of upgrading these places. It's too expensive. And we'd need to upgrade only a place that they don't control. So it would have to be upgrading there or upgrading there. We've already done a whole bunch of upgrading there, I believe. Oh, damn, that's them. We don't want to upgrade them. So we only can upgrade here or this unassigned province. How much does that cost? 50. And because it's on farmland, the cost is reduced by 5%. If we give that to them, this could be 2 birds with 1 stone. We need the bourgeois to get up to 75 so that we can request land off them. We're going to play this stupid game again. It will increase their loyalty by 1%, but how much will it increase their... it's their influence that we're worried about, that we need to get to 75. So let's just do this. 50, we can do 1 of those, we can do 2 of those, and we can do 2 of those. Does that make sense? 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's see how that affected things. Not enough to offset that, damn it. And not enough to change that. Let's let, oh, we're only going at 1 speed. Let's bump this up. We'll let this finish out and, oh, shite. France are declared, yikes. So they had been spying on England. They've obviously changed that around. No, they must have been doing that for a while. They've claimed Picardy. That's a problem. We're going to have a war about that, and that won't be good because they've got some allies up them. Well, that's the way it is. That's the way that France goes. Hopefully the English come over here and do something. Yeah, I just want to see France get a little bit weakened, but I don't think they're going to. I think England are quite happy hiding out. The suckers. What were we looking to do? Okay, I want to round this one up anyway, because this hasn't been so instructional as just talking codswallop. That hasn't helped, and they're no nearer to 70. Why not? This place is worth heaps. God sakes. Okay, what have we got here? We need to get that down to 80. We need to get that up to 75. The only way I can think is by taking one of these things off them. Which one will I take off them? 18 or 12? That's the one we're going to take off them. We need access through these clowns, who likely won't give it to us. No, they won't. They don't like us enough. God damn it. What about these clowns? No, they don't like us enough. They really don't like us enough. Okay, we need to... We'll leave this one for the meantime, guys. I haven't been doing enough explanations here. Sorry, there hasn't been enough new stuff here to show you. I'm gonna play this one offline, and I'll come back when I've got something new to show you. Thanks for watching.